The man just slept 2 extra minutes in bed, but when he woke up, it seemed something terrible was happening outside. He heard a sharp air raid siren, and even saw a military helicopter crash into the building next door. Before he could figure out what was going on, terrifying screams suddenly erupted from downstairs. Confused, he looked out the window, only to see people frantically running around in panic. His girlfriend was standing there, not yet realizing danger was closing in. He shouted urgently for her to come back, but in the next second, she was tackled by the crazed crowd and bitten viciously. This completely freaked him out. He had no clue what was happening. Panicked, he scrambled back into his apartment. But at that moment, his neighbor from next door suddenly burst in, saying his wife seemed to have gone crazy, begging to hide there for a while. Before he could react, the neighbor hurriedly covered his neck and rushed into the bathroom. The man noticed what looked like bite marks on his neighbor's neck, immediately sensing something terribly wrong. He quickly grabbed a knife to protect himself. Just then, an emergency news broadcast appeared on TV, announcing that a mysterious virus had broken out in the city. People infected would become extremely violent. Those bitten would lose all sense of reason and turn into monsters. At that moment, the neighbor stepped out of the bathroom. Having also seen the news, he desperately insisted he was fine, but suddenly, his eyes turned blood red, and his body began trembling uncontrollably. Fortunately, he still had a bit of sense left. Seeing the knife in the man's hand, the neighbor fearfully turned and left the apartment. The man quickly locked the door. Seconds later, he heard horrible screams from outside. Peeking through the peephole, he saw his neighbor being savagely attacked by those monsters. This sight made his knees weak, and he collapsed to the ground. Realizing the monsters had taken over outside, his first thought was about his parents. Thankfully, his father soon sent him a message, saying they were safe for now and urging him to stay inside. At that moment, he realized he could only rely on himself to survive. He quickly blocked the door with a refrigerator, covered all windows with paper to avoid detection, and moved his bed to the living room, allowing him to keep watch on the front door at all times. He marked a line on the mirror each day, reminding himself to keep going. But one night, just as he lay down, he heard noises coming from the bathroom. He instinctively sensed danger and cautiously approached, baseball bat in hand. Sure enough, a monster had crawled through the ventilation duct. Terrified, he quickly hid behind the sofa, but soon realized these monsters weren't very smart. He snuck behind it and finished it off with one strong swing, then promptly tossed the body off the balcony and blocked the vent with a surfboard. He survived until day 41, when his phone suddenly regained signal for a few minutes. He immediately called his parents, only to learn his sister had gone missing and that his parents were trapped in a supermarket by a swarm of monsters. Horrible screams quickly followed from the other end. Clearly, his parents hadn't made it. Overwhelmed by grief, he decided to get revenge. Grabbing his bat, he rushed outside, but instantly regretted it. The hallway was full of fierce monsters. Impossible for him to fight. He had no choice but to retreat back home. Just as he was calming down, the entire city lost power. Clearly, the situation was beyond control. He knew staying put meant certain death, so he decided to end his own life. But at that critical moment, he noticed a woman in the building across from him. Seeing another survivor immediately changed his mind. When the woman noticed him too, even though they didn't talk much, he felt less alone. To get her attention, he wrote many messages on paper. Early the next morning, he eagerly went to the balcony, but the woman wasn't there yet. Instead, he witnessed another horrific attack. Realizing the balcony wasn't safe for chatting, only after things quieted down did the woman open her curtains. Excited, he greeted her again. He learned her name was Amy, also a survivor, but in desperate condition with food and water running out. Determined to help Amy, he cleaned himself up during a rainstorm that night, shaved off his scruffy beard, and transformed overnight from a mess into a clean, sharp-looking guy. Amy was stunned when she saw him, but now wasn't the time for chatting. Their urgent problem now was figuring out how to safely get water to Amy.